Hello again. Over the last year, I've listened to a lot of music, mostly albums that I used to listen to as a teenager. Yes, I love a good playlist, but for the most part, when I listen to music on my own, it's an album. Writing a good song is certainly a challenge. However, writing an entire album that keeps you engaged from start to finish, that's what I'm about. I jump on the journey, and skipping is prohibited. You don't skip scenes when you watch a movie, right? Right? Do people actually do that? To each their own, I guess. Anyway, I was chatting to a mate a few weeks ago about older albums. You know who you are. And what album I was referring to back then. You know those albums you listened to as a teenager and felt, damn, this is some deep shit. Then you listen to it as an adult and you realize how much of an idiot you were as a teenager. And you hope that you know more than you did then. So yeah, I had to retire an album because it no longer spoke to me. I was thinking about this, and I think a lot of it has to do with surpassing the age of the artist at the time of recording. Just think about it. You are a teenager and you're listening to a 20-something's lyrics. You grow older, and what you thought was so deep no longer applies to you. Ain't no thing. Can you remember when you were young wondering why your parents never got into new music? I reckon it's for the same reason. They're around their 40s when you're a teenager, while trying to hold down a job and raising our dumbasses. Do you really think they had the time or the inclination to give a toss about the hardships a 23-year-old is singing on your boombox? Especially when they have no nostalgic tentacles drawing them in. Obviously, this doesn't apply to every album. There are many albums that I listened to as a teenager that still speak to me. Many. However, I love coming to these kinds of realizations. Just some reassurance that we're growing up a little, you know? More often than not, nostalgia does win though. You hear an album, and it takes you right back to that moment in time. I love that feeling. I have hundreds of albums, and I still remember where I bought each one of them. And what stereo it sat in as I fell in love with it. How fucking sweet is music? So yeah, something to think about. Topic change. It's been a super frustrating week. I started back at work full time. And then Julie and I came down with the worst cold of our lives. We got COVID tested just to make sure we could go to the doctor safely. But all we could do then was sit around and wait for the antibiotics to do their job. We had to put the week's workouts on hold. No sense getting sicker if you can help it. Super frustrating. I had it in my head that this week was going to be a huge stride in trying to get back to normal. And as it turns out, it was. I had a cold. Way back when I first got sick, my first symptoms were kind of flu-like. Do you know what I would have given to be told that I had a cold? So a cold. Is there anything any more normal than that? I've realized that getting back to normal is not only celebrating triumphs, but also character building challenges. If I had contracted a cold last year when I was neutropenic, we would have been back in the emergency room at least. So yeah, I get to enjoy a frustration of getting back to normal. Having said that, having a cold that will not improve is a major pain in the dickhole. But what can you do? It made me reflect on that word, normal. I guess that's defined by what is expected given one's circumstances. We were told last week of a few new normals. One happens to be the state of my lungs. Yeah, I'm choosing not to accept that. I've been cursed with the positive results from my own initiative last year. I pushed my injured lungs further by not accepting their condition. I'd have to say that breathing exercises opened a door for my mind and body to walk through. They empowered me in a way that disassociated me from ruin. Right now, I have no plans to sit and wallow. Absolutely none. I have no choice. I felt the flood and responded to treatment. Many don't get to say that. And how can I dishonor that? I said to Julie last week that as soon as the world opens up properly, we are booking a trip to Mount Kilimanjaro. You best believe we are going to summit. So go do what you do, because I'm going to do what I do. And when this cold goes away, And when this cold fucks off, I will post some more workouts. As always, for Julie.